Hello viewers of Spell, and welcome to the Spell Ray. Now, sorry if this video is getting out a little late. This week has kind of been a little busy for me. But we're doing a continuation of What If Deku was Yami's reincarnation. And let's just go over a little bit of the rules for this What If real quick. Many of the characters from Black Clover were reincarnated into My Hero Academia, whether or not they had a good equivalent or not. So there's going to be some interesting combinations, and ages will be mixed up. If you have a good character from Black Clover to mix with My Hero, please place in the description. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. After all, liking tells me you like the content, subscribing makes sure you can see it, and sharing allows your friends to see what you've been seeing. But, without any further ado, let's begin this What If. We start off shortly after Noct and Bakugo both told Midoriya that they had also received books yesterday. Bakugo said that some was already written, but there was a lot of blank pages. Same with Noct. Noct had been Midoriya's friend for a long time. They had actually met because their magics were both thought of as villainous. Noct had a shadow quirk with a sentient element, which Midoriya always thought was interesting. Every once in a while, there would be several small creatures that would pop out. But they seemed to be really excited about these books. Midoriya had admit, he had no idea what those things were. He always felt slightly creeped out when he saw them. While Bakugo was less enthusiastic why he got a weird book, as it was a 3-leaf clover and was a yellowish red on the front, as Midoriya showed that he could summon his. As he held out his hand as the book quickly came to his side, as Bakugo and Noct tried doing the same thing, and they did. And with this, all three of them would be getting ready for the UA entrance exam. Midoriya would be training his swordplay and usage of his quirk. Noct would help Midoriya train, but he was kind of secretive. Midoriya asked him what school he was going to, and if he was also going to UA. Noct said he wasn't. When Midoriya asked why, Noct says his parents wanted him and his brother to go somewhere else. As Midoriya nodded, Noct's brother was a really good guy. And he was a good friend, though everyone thought he was a wonderful person, unlike his brother or Midoriya. And Midoriya had to admit, it got under his nerves sometimes. Especially one time when they were little and hanging out. Someone actually asked Noct's brother why he hanged out with such villainous people. Of course, that was before he won the sword tournament, and people got afraid to actually pick on him, since he was so strong. Bakugo would train by himself, because, in his own words, I don't want either of you trying to copy me. As Midoriya looked online, and found something he called the American Dream Plan, which was basically just a workout routine to help build muscle. Midoriya would try to do it, and in 10 months, the entrance exam would come. As Midoriya would go to the entrance, Bakugo would pass him, and Midoriya was so nervous he didn't see a stone and nearly tripped. A girl with brunette hair would use her quirk to catch him. As Midoriya said thank you, as she said, no problem. My quirk allows me to nullify gravity on an object. I didn't want you to have an accident right before the exam. That would just be bad luck. And she would hurry off herself, as the entrance exam would start. As shortly after the written portion, President Mike would be doing the combat orientation, as Midoriya was writing things down. As he would be mumbling writing things down, a blue-haired boy would get up and ask him, "Are you not taking things seriously? You are one of the most prestigious schools in the nation." As Bakugo just got up and told him to be quiet. Midoriya mumbles a lot when he's taking notes. Midoriya, happy that Bakugo actually stood up instead of poking fun at him, he would also be glaring daggers at this blue-haired boy with glasses. Especially since he was being a bigger disruption than he was. He would point out the inconsistency as President Might would explain it away. As Midoriya would think, yeah, there's definitely something up with the 0-pointer. As they would proceed to the different points, Midoriya would look around and see a lot of interesting people. As he would, a boy with red hair that was, you could almost describe as orange. A little taller than he was. As he would see the same brunette, as she looked nervous. But as he was about to go give her a thumbs up and tell her that she will do great, as the same blue-haired boy with glasses walked up and grabbed his shoulder, as he accused Midoriya of trying to sabotage the brunette-haired girl. As Midoriya shook this boy's hand off of his shoulder, as he just looked at him and told him to his face that he wasn't going to try to sabotage her. She looks nervous. I was going to try to give her encouragement. If you have a problem with me, tell it to my face. As Midoriya's blood was starting to get a little hot. After all, he had called him out a little bit ago. The boy would just back off for a second, as this would startle him. As Midoriya would look around and see that everyone was staring at him, he would just get in position as President Mike would open the gate, as no one would move for a second before Midoriya would realize something and rush forward. President Mike would get the announcements for everyone and say, "What are you doing? There's no start signal in actual battle. Go, go, go!" As everyone else would rush forward. Midoriya would be able to bring in his sword, since he had filed the correct paperwork. As the first robot Midoriya would come across would meet a swift end, as things would go very well for Midoriya, particularly at first, as he was able to down a robot with several well-placed cuts. He would rescue some participants that were having issues. A few of the robots would be a challenge for him, though, as some would manage to block his sword or use a long-range attack. But these would not faze him, as he noticed the number of the robots being blasted with presumably heat-based attacks, as he would also notice that the girl that helped him was also using her gravity-based quirk to basically force robots to go into the air and crash back down. As Midoriya would pick up on something happening, as the ground would begin to shake. As a 0-pointer would appear, Midoriya would just look up at it, as he would think, "Yep, this is what I should have expected." As he was about ready to retreat with everyone else, he would notice that the brunette-haired girl would be trapped. Midoriya would quickly rush back as he started trying to remove the rubble. As he started to think, if my quirk was more powerful, I'd probably just destroy that 0-pointer. But right now, all I can do is try to get this off. The boy with the light red hair would rush in and help, quickly trying to melt off a lot of the rubble with his fire. As Midoriya would notice that he seemed to be shaping the fire into paws, as would get the girl out from the rubble, as they would quickly retreat from the 0-pointer. As they would manage to get out of the danger zone, Midoriya started to think about going back to get more points, but the signal would be sounded that the test was over. As Midoriya started to hope he got enough points, the brown-haired girl would thank him for trying to save her, as she introduced herself as Ochaku Uraraka. As she would thank the other boy, he would also introduce himself as Fangolion Todoroki. As Midoriya would only take a second to say, "Wait, Todoroki, like Endeavor?" as he would say, "Yes, that would be my father." As Midoriya would be taken aback for a second as he said, "Wow, wait a minute." As Midoriya would just look at him and say, "Why wouldn't you just take the recommendation?" As Fangolion would respond with, "Well, that's because there's actually 3 of us trying out for UA. You have me, my brother, and my sister. My brother took the recommendation, and me and my sister are taking the entrance exam." As Midoriya nodded, as he started to geek out a little bit, and as he asked, "What are your quirks?" As he said, "Fire, and my sister's also fire. As for my brother, as they would be only slightly interrupted when several fire trucks would rush past." As Fangolion would have a look on his face would change, as Midoriya asked, "What's that expression for?" As he just said, "I think my sister overdid it." As we would see one of the testing grounds be on fire. As we would see into the control room, as the principal would say, "Well, you have a spirited child." As Endeavor would just respond with, "You can say that again." And that's where we're going to leave it for today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'm sorry for this getting out so late. I had a busy week, then I got a sore throat, which meant that any bits I needed to re-record, I couldn't. And yeah, by the time all that was taken care of, it got so late that I just wound up sending it out for this week's video instead.